Hello, welcome back to the channel. Back out on the Mini again, and today I think it's time to make things look a little bit more pretty. Okay, so since the last video went out, I've been out again, and I just needed a quiet sort of Sunday afternoon to just sort of beaver away and do a few little jobs, time-consuming jobs that aren't really worth putting on video, but I can just tell you what I did because it's not the kind of stuff you want to watch. Let me show you. So what you see here is the boot floor is in. I put in 26 riv nuts. I then cut down 26 bolts and I screwed 26 bolts in. And then I thought to myself, ooh, I wonder what the clearance is like with those bolts poking through for the subframe. So I put the subframe in and I found out. And you may be able to see in here, especially with this one here, it looks tight, but actually when you get the camera in the right place, there's daylight. So that is in line with the row of bolts here. The same cannot be said for the next two bolts in that direction. So the one I just showed you is this one. That one and that one, it's a little bit tight. I kind of need to squish the riv nut a bit more than I actually did. And I need to cut the bolts down a bit further, but there is enough room to have clearance there. That applies on both sides in sort of equal fashion. So I'm going to start with doing that, and then I'm going to run the old buzzy wheel over any bits of welding. So we've got this bit here, we've got this bit down here, we've got those bits in the corner, anything that's going to look ugly. So these ugly bits here, the ugly bits around there and there and there. It's going to be a very kind of grindy day. But I just want it to start looking a little prettier so I can start getting ready to get some colour on it. So, and it has been mentioned in the comments somewhere, so I'm sure people are thinking it, how solid actually is this bit of floor? Well, it's really solid. Like, really, really, really solid. And as for sealing it to the outside world, I'm 50-50 on putting like just a seam seal, a tiger seal or something around the outside of this, and I do the same on the other side so that the areas under the fiberglass can't get water coming in, but water can still get out because we've actually got a little drain hole here. Again, with this, as you can see, to the outside world, I might actually knock this up and seal it here and put a couple of sort of 25mm drain holes like you would get, but then again I might not, haven't decided yet. I think the first job of the day is going to be undoing everything I did the other day, so let's take this back out. Okay, that makes access an awful lot easier, doesn't it? Okay, so what I'm referring to is these two here. If I get you in shot, you can see not a lot of clearance there, but enough. This one's got a fair amount of space, but the bolt goes through too far on this one, and just about, I mean, you look, it looks like a big gap in the camera, but I can barely get my fingernail on it. So if the bolt's too long, obviously it's going to bottom out. But those two are the only ones that are of concern. So it's a similar thing over here. Just need to open up the gap a bit. I was going to say I needed to squash these a bit more, but I actually don't think I do. I think these are actually all okay. I'll see if I can give it a little bit more. But yeah, it is just cutting the bolts down. And then let's start tidying up the welds. Anyway, bolts first. Now naturally, because this is me, this is actually not a riv nut gun. It's a rivet gun, which I have taken apart, taken all the rivety bits out of it, and I kind of cobbled together this bit of thread, because I mean it's effectively it's got to do the same thing. I know you can do these with a nut and bolt and just wind it up, but I have previously found that that's questionably reliable. So anyway, there's a little bit of clearance here now, there's a little bit of clearance on that side. That's all I really wanted to have. So I guess it's time to drop the subframe out and break out the flap wheel. Now, as you may have gathered, that took a little bit longer than I was expecting it to. So it turns out one of the nuts decided it didn't want to be a nut anymore. It just wants to be a threaded cylinder. You see what I mean? Look at it. It serves me right for using an impact gun, I guess, but well, I know it's probably a 40-something-year-old nut, but wow. Yeah, that was a sod to get out. Anyway, let's get the subframe out of the way and break out the grindy tools. Now, I'm going to say there's probably a few of you out there that would probably be thinking there is no way that this is going to clean up and actually look any good. Well, I hope I prove you wrong, because I am really pleased with how those welds are flatted down nicely. Obviously I haven't done round this corner yet, whole nother job that one, and I know I've got to cut this tab down so it's the right sort of depth, but actually for the rest of it, that's really, really, really nice. A bit of paint on that and it will look a world better. A little bit of filler to hide the dips, and we should be good. Now, I'm not going to lie and say it was perfect, because I actually ground through a hole here and I've had to fill it up with me bent up a backing piece to sit in the corner there. And yeah, I just gave it a little tackaroo to stop any further grief, but in doing so it sort of dinked this corner in, which means I can just sort of build it up a little bit with filler. But I don't mind a little bit of filler in this corner. I don't mind a little bit of filler to make it look nice. I just don't want the, you know, inch thick lump that I had sort of sitting back here. So that's that bit done. I could continue to do time lapse after time lapse after time lapse of watching me do this, but I have a feeling that you might get bored with that. You get the gist of what I'm doing. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to crack on with the rest of the back of the car, and I'm going to give it a coat of the old rust resistant primer, hopefully maybe even 2 or 3 coats of that rust resistant primer, and then I'll come back and find you once I'm done. Honestly, you're having a laugh. Gotta love this country, haven't you? I've just had to run around like an absolute lunatic to put everything away, get the car covered up. There's bare metal under there. I haven't had a chance to get any paint on, just because at a moment's notice it has decided to hailstone and rain. Yeah. So yeah, this is going to be over the course of a couple of days now. Probably doesn't come up on camera, but look at the size of the flipping hailstones that are coming down at the moment. It's mad. So as you may be able to gather, many days have elapsed while I've been doing this. The weather came and went. It's, say, thanks to my silly hat, you should be able to see it is freezing cold again. It was 4 degrees this morning, lovely. But I've made some good progress. So let me show you my little corner repair. All the proud welds all flatted down. The corner is looking good, needs some filler, but we don't mind a little bit of filler, and it's only going to be a little bit. And the same can be said over here. and in this corner here. I'm really happy with how this has come out. There's little bits of fluff stuck to here because I had to cover up in a hurry, but I've managed to get my little pinholes repaired on the back of the arch there and there, and there and there, and everything is looking good on the top half. Oh, and my little pinholes up here, all the little things I've plugged up, everything has flatted back, and actually with a little bit of a filler in these bottom corners, that is going to look really, really good. So what's next? Well, on the inside of the boot, I can get seam sealer in all the places that need a bit of seam sealer, and I can get another couple of coats of paint, and that's more or less ready to see some sort of primer and some colour. So that's all good on the inside of stuff. The only stuff I've still got to sort is underneath. So yes, my little ugly patches of weld here and the same on the other side, they're not really in the way at all. They're just going to get a little tidy up with the flap wheel just to make sure there's nothing sitting too obviously ugly and proud. And I'm going to deal with, let's zoom you in so you can see that. This little bit here, that might need a bit more rust killing. And the same with this bit on the edge here. But basically, from that seam there all the way back here, we are now about ready for paint. Oh yeah, no, I've got to flat some weld here as well. But we don't. Yeah, it's not nothing too hard to do. So yeah, the next step for me, I'm gonna get everything inside the boot seam sealed so the boot is done and ready for paint. I'll be climbing underneath the car, flatting stuff and seam sealing it so it is also ready for paint. I've got to make a decision on the rear valance, whether I run it or not, and then I've got to make a start on the sills, which I might end up doing, but I'll put the subframe in, get it on its wheels, because then I can lean it over and get to the sills an awful lot easier than laying on the floor here. I've done it once laying on the floor like that, it ain't fun. So getting the wheels on one side, getting it down and then leaning it sort of over towards the wall, that's going to be my approach for that. And then I can, if nothing else, even if it just ends up being cleaning up the floor and just get the whole floor and the back of the car and everything all ready for painting in one go. So we're not out of the woods yet with the renovation, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. And I know when it comes to the floor, there's stuff on the inside I've got to deal with as well. Same with the sills, but I've kind of got to progress through it as I go. I'm just going to try and keep marching on with this as best I can, because even like in the cold weather, as long as it's not raining, I can be out here beavering away on this. So please follow along the journey, hit the buttons, and I will see you on the next one.